So welcome to my home and my collection of Murcielagos.
Here he is. Oh, both of them here, Sam and Scott.
That problematic.
Here they are.
You wiggle for sure.
How are you doing? On it.
Beautiful.
But I might let you try to like baby, I'll take you.
Something's up. You know you said about flat wheel?
Yeah.
I'm being pulled over to that side. Come on.
Yeah, it's flat at the bottom.
This is outrageously unreal.
Throw it in there. Let's have a look at the
Hey, do
wheel.
you think we got a spare?
There's only one way to find out.
Like, seriously? Right, Sam, what are you doing?
What I'm doing here is I'm improvising, baby. Getting the spare wheel out. It's a steel, baby.
Scott, where are we at? Absolutely incredible. This man has changed a tyre 52 seconds flat.
52
Ferrari F1 team.
Red
I've
Bull,
got nothing.
You've got nothing on Sam Hard.
My number's in the bio.
Mate, they look disgusted at him. Like,
That Brit with his horrible little butt hanging out the back of that little bat truck. Fin chap.
Oh, spotting.
Just like the money. Plenty rounds, they wanna try me. Pull the rope and I've been climbing.
Morning. Good to see you again. How are you?
How you doing?
How are you, sir?
I'm good, man. You alright?
So, I'm back with the boys in Atlanta and we've gone with again. Ed Bolian, we're back. How you doing?
I'm great.
Good to
Thanks
see
for
you.
being here. Absolutely. Your stories were great last time. I hope you're here to tell some more.
Let's tell some more. Should we head up?
Absolutely. Let's do it.
Just like that, yeah, just like that. Just like that, we're moving too fast. Slip and slide, slap metro. On the fly, thought I was
Finally made it, guys. Ratarossa has hit the gold plaque. Cheers. Thanks for all of your following over the years. It's been really good. One day.
thought I was next door. You don't smile when you get text from me. They just give you anxiety. Looking back, you were
So what a place to be back. I am the home of VINwiki, Ed Bolian's place. It is an absolute pleasure to be back here, and we've got new company this time. We have still got the Verde Draco Murcielago. We've also got that behind me, but the main thing, I'm only joking. Have a look at this. The Murcielago SV. Now today's going to be a very cool day, and you might be wondering why I'm whispering. Well, above me they're doing some more VINwiki stories, which I'm about to go up and tell one of mine. And yeah, just to take in, I'm back at VINwiki's headquarters, and a massive thank you to Ed Bolian once again for having us around his place. Let's get on with today. Okay, so a quick break. I've come to sit in the car while they all do the stories and keep going, and I can actually talk to the camera now, as I didn't want to say a lot downstairs whilst they were filming. But what a privilege it is to be back at Ed's. It's incredible. But I mean, this car is like 100 degrees in here. There's one funny thing I wanted to show you guys. Now, of course, being in America, everything's bigger, and I've got this lovely can right here. It's I can't even pronounce what that is, but it's raspberry. Very nice. Have a look at the size of Sam's slush this morning. It's bigger than my head. That would give you a body freeze, not a brain freeze, a body freeze. That is insane. Look at that. Beauty.
Thank you. Cheers. Happy New Year.
cheers. Down the hatch. 1, 2. Wow.
So, what is up everyone, and welcome back to the channel, and I'm joined once again with the legend, Ed Bolian. How you doing?
In a race to get sunburned. How are you, sir?
Well, Mum, I have got sun cream on, don't you worry. But, I mean, where do we begin?
Welcome.
You got your 3 Mercies out here.
I do.
And yes, the sun is out, it is stunning. I mean, look.
And I'll show you around my favorite cars.
That will be perfect.
When I was 16 years old, the Murcielago came out. In its first form, I remember the test at Nardo racetrack where they set the fastest 100 miles, fastest 100 kilometers, and the furthest distance driven in an hour, and I just fell in love with the cars. The Diablo was wonderful, obviously, before it, and the Countach, but to me, the Mercy is the ultimate Lamborghini. I think it's the best sounding. It's the one that you can really mile up. I think I've probably put between 100 and 150,000 miles on Mercies over the last, what now? I don't know.
Mercies?
Yeah. Because I think I've had these, that was number 7 that I've owned, and I've sold, I don't know, 100. But regardless, I now have 3 of them. And it began, I bought an E-Gear Roadster, then an E-Gear Coupe, but I always wanted a manual car, and nobody really knew how rare they were. When they started to sell the paddle shift cars, the general acceptance was that they were about 95% E-Gear. But in fact, it was less than 1% were still manual cars. And when they got to the LP640s, there were almost none. And I'd sold a few of them, and I had some people that came to me asking me to help them find them, because I usually kept track while I was a dealership at Lamborghini Atlanta, and I wanted one myself.
You wanted a slice of the fun, didn't you?
That's
the
exactly
drama,
right.
the craziness. I mean, the Mercies are, as we know, one of the most craziest Lamborghinis built.
That's right.
And you just had to have 3.
Yes. So welcome to my home and my collection of Murcielagos. I never thought that I would own so many at the same time, but I have owned a lot of them. The first manual car was a perfect Verde Ithaca one, but I had a gigantic loan attached to it that I didn't really feel like continuing to pay on. So the opportunity, as it began to appreciate, became sell the nicest one to buy the least nice one. And I found a Canadian manual LP640 that had been crashed by the drunk 15-year-old who was working for his father-in-law, having gotten his daughter pregnant. Now, his father-in-law was an Iranian terrorist and a drug dealer, and they had a business of shipping cars across the US-Canada border, and they stuffed the frame rails and things with drugs. So that was his job as his newly betrothed son-in-law. Now, I bought a Grigio Telesto car that this kid had crashed, and they'd abandoned it very publicly in the middle of the highway. I'd reconditioned the car, drove it a lot, and ended up getting a tremendous offer to sell that one. So I bought the second least nice one, which was this car. Now, when I bought it, it was black, and it had holes in the quarter panels from a wing. The front had been repainted with a brush, same for the rockers, and so I knew that I was gonna have to repaint most of the car, and that became the perfect opportunity to color change it. Now, there were no Verde Draco Mercies sold in the US. It was one of the press colors released in 2007, and it was the same color of the E-Gear car that Jeremy Clarkson had driven on Top Gear. And so I wanted to emulate a car that is in the UK that you've now seen a lot because it's sold very recently, and I know it's shown up at some of your shows and things like that. So I went with titanium Hercules wheels, full Verde Draco paint. It's got an all black interior, and I just love it. So this is one of 22 manual US LP640 coupes. There's twice that many US E-Gear SVs, including there's actually 3 manual SVs in the US. Those cars would probably be worth $3 to $5 million today, and I certainly don't have the ability to do that. And I wasn't even planning to buy an SV, but I got a call from a guy in Germany back in November, and he had a question about our VINwiki app. Now, we have an app for crowdsourcing vehicle history, and so we have registries of a lot of rare cars, including manual LP640s and SVs. Now, in the post that I'd made to this car's VIN 4002, I had noted that it was number 240 out of 350. Now, Lamborghini didn't actually make 350 of them, they made about 250 of them. And so 44 came to the US, and this one got crashed in a rather horrific way back in 2016. And when it ran through the Copart auction, somebody took out the seats, the deck lid, everything, and the car was pretty much stripped, including that dedication badge. And so it was fixed in Hungary. And while it was fixed, they used some remanufactured parts, some used parts, and they ordered some parts from the factory. And when they ordered the new plaque, they sent them number 257. 257 is a black car in Miami, and so that's why he contacted me to try to figure out what had gone on. What really happened is the factory just didn't keep very good records, and they didn't know what number it was, and I think they just guessed. Regardless, now it says 257, and there's 2 257s, but I learned that there was a crashed and rebuilt SV in Europe that wouldn't have sold very well, and so I got a great deal on it. lately there have been some phenomenal comparable transactions in the US, not rebuilt title cars, but they've sold for up to $1.5 million. And the last manual LP640 transactions were about $1 million. Now, I can't spend that much money on a car, so I buy the worst examples of the coolest cars. Now, of the 44 US LP670s and even the 250 in the world, this is the only Rosso Andromeda car. But once I secured that, it almost felt like I had to have the third one. This came up for sale late last year, and I wasn't 100% sure that I could afford it, but I had sold a lot of my cars trying to buy one of the retired Ciro development cars. And in speaking to the Bugatti factory, they ended up deciding that after Mate Remick took over, they didn't want to do that, so I liquidated a bunch of the old car trick cars and things like that, and I had a little bit of firepower, and so this car came up. Now, there's only 10 manual LP640 Roadsters in the US, and that's about half of them worldwide. 20 to 30 cars worldwide were the Roadster form of the LP640. This car is one of two that were ordered new by Ralph Lauren, but he didn't take delivery of either of them. Think that in 2009, it was the weakest point ever in the luxury goods economy in the United States, really worldwide. And so tons of cars just sat at dealers, and at that point, nobody cared about manual cars relative to paddle shift. They really wanted the latest and greatest technology. And so this car was just sold to somebody who treated it like a car. And he would drive it around and hit stuff, and he would just spray paint over it with a can of Rust-Oleum whenever he did so. So this panel looks like it was painted by you or me, and so it needs to be totally repainted at some point. It's a very Ratarossa spec of an LP640, maybe even a rat bat, one might say. I don't know exactly what I'm going to do with it. It runs just fine. It's got about 23,000 miles. And I like it a lot. I like being able to sit up straight. I can look right over the windscreen frame at 6'5". So I guess the right answer to which is the ultimate Mercy is all of them.
So, after Ed gave us a little tour around the cars, Ed, where we're about to head off right now?
Should go for a little Mercy drive.
A Mercy drive, and I'm okay to join you in the Verde Draco?
Yeah, hop in, let's do it.
Oh, let's go. So this is truly something special. I'm in the car with Ed and we are loving life. The humidity now is crazy. It's nice to be in a car with aircon or as such. And we've got Ciro driving the Black Mercy and Scott, no, Ciro's driving the SV, and I know that's one of his dreams.
Are you mad? Are you nuts?
And Scott is joined the dark side. He is part of the Lamborghini crew, and Sam is probably talking to Scott as like he normally does.
The terror on his face. It's a very unusual moment for Mr. Hard to actually stop talking.
But yeah, taking 3 of the Mercies out. Wow.
I've never driven a Super.
Oh my god.
I've never driven a Lamborghini.